we doing, everybody? Happy Sunday evening to you. It's the final day of November, the final night of November. Tomorrow, December creeps up on us, and we have got an absolutely amazing show. No matter what platform you are watching this on, thanks so much. We are obviously on YouTube right now, as we are every single week. Also, we're on X streaming live, and we are on Instagram live as well. So all of those channels funneling into the same beautiful place for all of you beautiful D-aliens around the holiday season. Tonight is going to be amazing. We've got Jason La Canfora, former friend of mine from, well, still a friend, but former colleague of mine from CBS Sports, NFL Insider. He'll join us tonight here on the show. 3 straight weeks of NFL Insiders. Diana Rossini, Ian Rappaport, now Jason La Canfora. Where else are you getting this type of coverage on a streaming platform such as this? We have the best Sunday night show possible. Also, we are giving away memberships tonight. Holiday is in the house. We are gifting and giving tonight. I've got more details on the major Santo Tequila giveaway that's worth more than $500 for you, the viewers of this show. And we've got to whip around the comments and give some exhale cocktails, tips of the cap as well. All of that coming up tonight here on the program. Love having you here aboard the show. A little reminder, if you are watching on X, if you're watching on Instagram Live, get to the YouTube channel and make sure you are subscribed. That's the only way you can be eligible for the grand prize at the end of the football season, this huge Santo Tequila giveaway. So make sure you're finding me on YouTube. All of the social media handles are the same, at Damon Amendo. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Right now, go there, pop it on your phone. Make sure you get in there. That way you are eligible, automatically eligible for the major end of the football season giveaway. I am so excited. Now, you know, I usually do the Bill Maddock episode, Bill Maddock podcast after every Bills game. Tonight, it coincides with the start of Watch DA Live. So let's kick things off with the Furious Five with the number one story tonight and the Bills mauling the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Not only an important victory for where the Bills are in the season, coming off of the loss against the Texans, the way that Houston just blasted them along the offensive line, 8 sacks of Josh Allen, and the offense could really never get going. But also in the standings, trying to make sure you're still jockeying in a healthy position for a wild card slot, because with the loss against Houston, it feels like the division is sailing away a little bit on you. Patriots will play on Monday night against the Giants. Not only important from that regard, but important in how they beat the Steelers. There's 2 things here that if you are a Bills fan, it is very encouraging. Number one, while they had their lunch eaten last week by the Texans, they did the eating tonight against the Steelers. They completely controlled the trenches, and specifically their offensive line, which had injuries on it coming into the night, just dominated, pushed around the Steelers. And for a team that is oftentimes seen as simply Josh Allen and then find something that works, Josh run around and make something happen, for a team and offense that has always felt like if Josh wasn't in sync, they weren't going to be able to get anything done, it is so big to go out there and just impose your will running the football. Because, of course, Josh softens that up because of what he can do downfield, and he contributes in the run game as well. But tonight you had James Cook, 32 carries for $144, and all of them I thought were hard-nosed, positive yards that he gained. Ray Davis contributes 62 yards as well. Ty Johnson had a couple of carries. Of course, Josh had a couple of carries. And when all is said and done, you never really see this in today's NFL. The Bills ran more than 50 times in tonight's game, 51 carries for 249 yards. 51 carries for 250, which is basically 5 yards a clip. That is, we dare you to stop us. You know what's coming. We know what's coming. Let's see if you can stop it. And the Steelers couldn't. Now, part of this is obviously on the Steelers' defense, and that's not going to be good enough to do anything in the playoffs, and if they even get there. And we know the Steelers' defense has been taking on water the entire year. But in terms of owning a line of scrimmage and just road grading your way to kind of a physical win, I think the fact that the Bills have that in them, no matter how leaky the Steelers' defense is very important. It's very important just to do it so that you have it in the card catalog. The second part of the reason this game was such an important victory and how it happened was the fact that early in this game, they didn't create points because they turned the football over. And the only way the Steelers' offense was getting anything was after that fumble by James Cook, where he kind of knees it out of his own hands. Short field, momentum is there, bang, bang, bang. Steelers go down the field, score a touchdown. They're up 7-0. And you're like, wow, the James Cook fumble could end up being the turning point of this game. Steelers could get nothing going, and then now they're down the field. They're up 7-0. And that moment, the Bills looked a lot like the Bills have looked this season, searching, kind of at a loss. Josh Allen's body language at times this year has been, what's going on? And at that moment, it felt like, what is going on? Couple of turnovers. We gave one away there. Steelers just capitalized. We have yards, but no points. What's going on? And that's when the Bosa strip sack happens. Returned back the other way by Benford, touchdown. And that just changed everything, right? That just changed everything because the Steelers at that point in time seemed to just have a little bit more. And after that point in time, it was sucked out of them. It's 7-3 at halftime. And the Bills are really scuffling. And then coming right out of halftime, you saw the interview with Tracy Wolfson and Sean McDermott. McDermott is through gritted teeth yet again. He's bothered that they can't put points on the board. The one long drive had stalled. Wind might be a factor. Points at a premium. And then the Bosa sack, the Benford scoop and score, 10-7. It's an exhale. And from there on, the Bills just dominated. They absolutely dominated. In fact, from that point on, they outscored the Steelers 23-0. A defensive play created a scoring opportunity, took a little bit of pressure off the offense, and then suddenly everybody could exhale. So I just thought that, hey, in terms of how this went down on the road, not going your way early, it's not a great Josh through the air game. Keon Coleman gets a touchdown, does drop the slant, not great. So some give and some take there. But overall, just the way that you win is, I think, a real plus for the Buffalo Bills. So you'll take it. You'll take it to the bank. 8-4. You remain in the wild card race. And look, if it comes down to it, the Bills have 3 very valuable tiebreakers head to head. They've got one against the Chiefs, one against the Ravens, now one against the Steelers. The one against the Texans got away from them. It's too bad. They might need to use that one. They might need that one, I should say. But they got 3 valuable ones in the AFC wildcard picture. We'll see if they come into play. That's my overall vibe of that game from a Bill standpoint. From a Steeler standpoint, it's just a problem right now. It's a problem because Rodgers at 41 has now looked very 41. He's got the support on his non-throwing hand. He gets pile driven into the turf, so he's got the bloody nose, misses the series. Mason Rudolph throws the terrible interception. The Steelers' offense cannot really get clicking, and then the defense is, obviously got its holes. You see Mike Tomlin on the sideline, once again kind of looking like a lost dog. What's going on here? And it's that very statuesque nature that is very different than his fiery persona at press conferences and when he's mic'd up on the sideline. We hear all this animation, And then a night like this happens, and he just looks silent and still, especially when he got stopped at the 4th and short. And that was basically game. And the Steelers feel dead. They just feel dead. And what is amazing is we're going to talk to Jason La Canfora about this, NFL Insider, a little bit later on in the show. He's been based in the DC-Baltimore Beltway for a long time, and he knows the Ravens as well as anybody. We're going to talk to him about what ails the Ravens. But after Thursday night, Ravens, especially Lamar, stuck in neutral. Steelers right now sinking like a rock. Joe Burrow back. Don't look now. The Bengals are open for business. Had the Bengals defense not blown that game against the Jets and the Cowboys, or the Jets and the Bears, what a completely different season this is right now for the Bengals. They can only do what they can do right now with the record that they've been given. But considering where the Ravens and the Steelers are right now, Burrow and the Bengals right now, blinking light in the front window of the bodega, open. We are open. It got late real quick, but they are still open. Absolutely incredible. Bills win 26-7 in Pittsburgh. Okay, next up with the Furious Five. Let's look at Lane Kiffin, shall we? The Lane Kiffin soap opera has multiple villains in it. And I don't think anybody gets out of here unscathed, okay? The first part of this is Lane. And Lane Kiffin booed on the tarmac today. Seemingly, they threw his clothes out in the parking lot, said, hey, you bring them wherever you're going, get out of here. A lot of vitriol around Oxford, Mississippi, and there's an element of this that Lane deserves, okay? There's an element of this that Lane deserves because Lane Kiffin plays the soap opera as well as anybody has ever played it. He is not without flaws here, okay? This is a guy who had his family fly down to Gainesville or drive down to Baton Rouge. However they got there, they're looking at houses. They're taking tours of the place. There is a volume here. They did not try to do this under secrecy. Then Ole Miss administration wants him to make some type of decision. Essentially, it's a clock ticking on the Egg Bowl. Then we have a date, a time. This morning, 10 a.m., going to meet with the team. Then that's pushed back 3 hours. And in the middle of all of this, Lane Kiffin had the ability to just say, it's a good situation. Ole Miss trusted me when nobody else would. I'm in the Power Four. I'm in the SEC. I'm going to the playoff. I don't need to leave. I'm good here. We can win. I'm not going to pull the plug on a team going to the playoff. And B, if I'm going to leave, this has got to be really quiet. This is going to be really, really quiet. But the Kiffins don't do that. The Kiffins are front and center. I mean, his daughter announcing that she's dating an LSU player the week of the LSU game. This is the Kiffins like to make sure people notice the Kiffins. So that's where I thought this got a little distasteful. It's not that he left so much because LSU, historically speaking, is a significantly better job. Historically speaking, significantly better job. Deeper resources, more talent in the state, previous national championships. The list goes on and on and on. It is that this was loud. It was loud and it was messy, and it kind of always is with Lane. That's Lane's fault. Here's what's not. The broken timeline and annual calendar of college football. You know, in the NFL, it's not like a head coach leaves a team entering the playoffs for another team that's not before the postseason begins. Could you imagine if Ben Johnson was plucked by the Giants right now? Hey, bigger market, more history, although they have kind of the same history, but you know what I'm saying. Frequent Super Bowl appearances, much more so than the Bears. You know what? We've got a bigger opportunity for you. Come here. And Ben Johnson would leave a team going to the playoffs to go to the Giants before the postseason. It would never happen. And today, college football allows all this because the entire calendar is broken. The transfer portal and the bowl season and the playoff schedule and when your programs want you to come and start. And it always feels a little different when you have group of 5 smaller school coaches jumping into the Power 5. Not great either. That's always felt bad, but okay. It happens, step up, and you got to deal with it. In this case, you're going from an SEC school with a chance at a championship to an SEC school that doesn't have a chance for a championship, and you're taking away from the team and the locker room and the players that really have a great opportunity. And that should just not be. And because LSU can fire Brian Kelly whenever they want, and they can push them out the door and then spend the amount of money that they want. They'll get it together and then say, okay, now we're going to bowl you over with so much cash you can't leave. You can't say no. A guy like Lane Kiffin is, even if he has the best inclinations, is caught between a rock and a hard place. Because if he does love Ole Miss, but also realizes I'm not getting $90 million guaranteed from Ole Miss, this is it. And I know I can win a national championship at LSU. I'm not so sure here, whatever the case is, or even if he's got the best intentions, hey, I just like Baton Rouge better, or whatever. He can't say no right now. He can't say wait. He can't say wait until we're not playing anymore because his season could go through mid-January, and LSU ain't waiting 6 to 8 more weeks to make this decision. So the whole thing is broken. Some of this, the yoke got on Lane Kiffin. Some of this is certainly yoke on college football. And therein lies the biggest problem with college football. You have a professionalized environment where the transfer portal churns. So there's essentially player free agency, and conference realignment has meant we are just plugging and playing teams to make sure we get massive television matchups and massive television deals. And the money is churning and burning through the whole thing. And yet, even as it professionalizes itself, it's got no central governor. It's got no commissioner. It's got no greater good that they're trying to achieve. And so it becomes really messy and unfortunate. And Ole Miss fans deserve better than this, because they finally got a winner, and now not only does he leaves to go out the door within the conference. And not only does he leave to go in the conference, he does so on the eve of them playing in the playoffs. That really stinks. That's really bad for the sport. Drama sells, soap opera sells, but the way this thing went down is really bad for the sport. Hey, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click on this button below me if you like these takes, if you like this show, if you want more like this. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you're on YouTube, make sure you click on that button. If you're on X or you're on Instagram Live, get over to the YouTube channel and make sure you are subscribed. That way you get notified when we go live like this, and you're not suddenly searching or it comes up on your timeline. You're like, wait a second, what is this? DA's live? Oh, yeah, right. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. All of the YouTube, X, Instagram, Twitter, social media channels, TikTok are all the same at Damon Amendo. Next up in the Furious Five, back over to the NFL. And in the NFL, an AFC South matchup, advantage Houston. And boy, you got to love that headline there by young Ben Spector, don't you? This is a young man that has taken over for Aiden Hatton, the Marquette Marvel, as executive producer here on Watch DA Live. And Texans hold him. That's good. That's good wordplay. That's good punnage. The Indianapolis Colts are fugazi, and I told you this 2 months ago. The Indianapolis Colts cannot be trusted, and I told you this 8 weeks ago. The Indianapolis Colts are not to be trusted, and today showed you why. That's a Texan squad that just gets after you. That's a Texan squad that sucks the life out of an offense. And that's a Texan squad that can go on the road and do that. And I just felt like the Colts today really struggled for everything they could get. Every inch, every yard, every score was a struggle. And I know the Texans have the best defense in football. And I realize you don't have to play the Texans defense every week. And there might only be one Texans defense when it comes to this AFC postseason. But I'm looking at how this thing went down. And not only did the Colts struggle all day long, Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor are supposed to be this kind of two-headed monster, great balance on offense. And they muster on offense consistent drives that led to nowhere. And in terms of the Colts, creating offensive chunk plays, they just couldn't do it enough today. A couple of touchdowns and a field goal for a measly 16 points. It was not enough all day long. It simply was not enough. And I just cannot believe that Colts team has a good enough quarterback, a good enough coach, and a good enough defense to survive 3 weeks in the AFC playoffs. I cannot believe that. And even when they were vying for the 1 seed, I did not believe that. Go back to the tapes. I kept saying this. Now they're sinking. And what happened against the Chiefs is, to me, going to be the stigma that the Colts always live with this season. They had an 11-point lead against the Chiefs, a Chiefs team that right now has 6 losses, not unbeatable. And I know it was at Arrowhead, but I don't care. Either your offense or your defense could have put that game to bed. And neither side could do it. Neither side could land the knockout punch. Neither side. I don't believe the Colts have the knockout punch. And today was another incredible struggle. And don't look now. They've got to play the Texans again. And the Colts might go from a 1 seed to out of the playoffs altogether if they're not careful. Go ahead and look at this Colts schedule. They are 8-4. And I'll give my cohort in the mornings on Mad Dog Sports Radio love here. Babs said a couple of weeks ago his bold prediction was that they would lose out. The Colts lost to Kansas City. They lost to the Texans. They traveled to Jacksonville against a frisky Jaguars team. They then traveled to Seattle against a very good Seahawks team. They then get the 49ers, a good team as well. They take on the Jaguars again, and they're at Houston. It is not unthinkable that this Colts team goes from the number 1 seed in the AFC to out of the playoffs at 8-9 or 9-8. It is not unthinkable. And for the Texans, that's just a filthy defense that nobody wants to have to play. Nobody. And I give D'Amico Ryans and that side of the football so much credit, because they don't have to do much on offense. And they didn't today, but it was absolutely enough to get a win, and a statement win in a division that is right now absolutely up for grabs. Next up in the Furious Five. This is for everybody down there in North Kakalaka and South Kakalaka. How about the Panthers? I couldn't believe it when my colleague this morning on NFL radio, Robert Turbin, former running back of the Seattle Seahawks when they won their Super Bowl and went to back-to-back Super Bowls, said, my upset pick is the Carolina Panthers. I said, Turbo, your upset pick is the Panthers? They're 10-point dogs in this game, and we just agreed that the Rams are the best team in football. He said, I'm picking the Carolina Panthers. I said, based on what? And he said, I'm channeling my inner Michael Jordan. I said, Turbo, I don't even understand what that means. He goes, well, MJ won a national championship at UNC, right? I said, yeah. He goes, that was at Carolina. Yeah. Well, that's it. I'm like, well, that's a hell of a basis for a pick. And wouldn't you know it, Turbo is right. Mad props to Robert Turbin for picking this. I never thought this was going to happen. Now, the Panthers play much better at home than on the road, and the Rams had to make the cross-country trek. But the Rams come into today as the best team in football, and now you go, well, damn. I mean, every single team that's going to make the playoffs can be beaten by anybody. And I just want to give massive credit to Dave Canales. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to reiterate it. Dave Canales saved the quarterback, the franchise, and the owner. And I didn't think Canales was a great head coaching candidate. So I'm not patting myself on the back at all. But David Tepper needed to be saved from himself, from spinning the wheel of fortune on everything, quarterbacks, coaches, GMs, blah, blah, blah. And Bryce Young was the number 1 overall pick and looked like he was going to wash out of a job real quickly. And that was a franchise that was irrelevant and loserville, and everybody that went in there came out afterwards and went to a better place, like Sam Darnold, like Baker Mayfield, etc. And Canales now in 2 short years has made the Panthers one of the toughest matchups in the NFC. Bryce Young looks alive. They've got 3 pretty good pass catchers, all of decent size. Their pass rush can get after you. It's a pretty good football team. And the fact that they walked in today against a team deemed the best in the NFL by many, not just me, and stood toe-to-toe and battled them all day long. It wasn't like this was a frantic comeback. It wasn't like the Cowboys coming back from down 21-0 against the Eagles. This was, they just lined up and said, no, we'll play. You deal with us. I give Dave Canales so much credit. I mean, Rico Dowdle's been, a godsend. I can't believe it. I can't believe that team was able to do that today against the Rams. And honestly, over 60 minutes, we're just the better football team. And finally, in the Furious Five, I am so damn sick of the analytics community gaslighting us football fans. Okay, I'm going to go back to the Black Friday game for a moment here. But if you are sick of analytics and data nerds ruining your football, this is the rant for you. Down 15 points with 3 minutes to play. The Eagles score a touchdown, so they're down 9. They go for 2. And you think, why would they do that? If they kick the PAT here, they're down 8 and it's a 1-possession game. If they miss the 2-point conversion, they're down 9 and the game is over. And they went for 2. And they didn't get it, and the game was over. And after the game, Nick Sirianni bumbled his way through an explanation, which was terrible because he's an imbecile. I've said this many a time. He is an imbecile with a Super Bowl ring. Hey, it happens. His general manager, Howie Roseman, built a Nick Sirianni-proof roster last year, but the man is a walking idiot. And he tries to explain why he went for 2 there and can't really get around to it. But because the data people have insisted this is right, he just says, I have it in my notes. I've studied this for a long time. I've always done this, and this is what I was going to do. And, okay, that doesn't help us understand why. But then here come the Bill Barnwells and Greg Olson swooping in to cover up any of the ammunition that Nick Sirianni might get and say, why are you even questioning this, football fans? How stupid are you? This is what they were saying. Bill Barnwell tweeted, why are we still arguing this? Now, I'm going to give you the layman's terms here for why you do this. Down 15, you need 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. So it needs to be 7 and 8 or 8 and 7, right? And so the idea here is go for the 2-point conversion on the first one, because if you get it, then you have a chance to tie or win if you want to go for 2 on the second one. The problem is if you miss the 2 on the front side, what the analytics people tell you is, well, now you know what you need to do. You got to get the ball back again. So you coach for that. To which I say, BS reasoning. The Eagles had 3 minutes left in this game. When they went for 2 and didn't get it, did it smell like to you they were going to get 2 more offensive possessions? This wasn't 10 minutes left in the game, 12 minutes left in the game. It wasn't even 6 minutes left in the game. There was 3. In today's NFL, where the onside kick is basically impossible to recover, how exactly do you expect to get the football back 2 more times? You can't, you won't, you don't, and the crowd knew it. And that sideline knew it. And thank goodness J.J. Watt actually responded on Twitter to Greg Olson's inane, why are we even still arguing this? Of course you do it this way, by J.J. saying, the data says that, but having played the game, when you're down 8, it's much different because there's a wind in your sail. There's a motivation factor there. You've got momentum and you feel like you can do it because it's only 1 possession and a 2-point conversion. When you're down 9, all of that dissipates. And for the Barnwells and Greg Olsons and Nick Siriannis and the data geeks, yes, data's a tool. Absolutely, data's an instrument. But data cannot dictate, no matter what happens in the game or where you're at, your actions. And for Greg Olson to say this, Barnwell never played, so fine. I mean, I'm annoyed by that as well. But for Greg Olson to say this is, to me, so obnoxious that there's not even a question. Of course, this is what you do. Because any former player should know what tilts in every event: momentum, crowd noise, belief, confidence. It always tilts. That's always what happens. And I can tell you that momentum's a real thing and that the crowd is a real thing, because why would players and coaches encourage us as fans to be loud? Show up, be loud, you make an impact. And when you're the home crowd and you boo the team, they say, don't do that. That's detrimental. We have these stories constantly where players and coaches are telling us that what we do matters inside the stadium. It affects them positively and negatively. Now, suddenly you're down 9 with 3 minutes to go in the game. Eagles fans start booing. They start getting salty, as you might imagine. And now we're led to believe that that shouldn't happen, or that doesn't have an effect on the players. Stop gaslighting us, data freaks. It doesn't make any sense. You're not consistent in your logic. And anybody that thinks being down 9 with 3 minutes to go is superior to being down 8 with 3 minutes to go is an unforgivable idiot. Stop telling us it's raining when you've got the garden hose on our back. It's not the law of the land. And when Nick Sirianni says, I've studied this, this is what we do, I'm always going to do it, you're like, well, you know what? Maybe you should go back to every decision is based on the current circumstance and not, I researched this 3 years ago, so this is what I'm going to do 3 years later in week 13 of the NFL season on Black Friday in the fourth quarter. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I did an entire screed about this yesterday on this YouTube channel, so you can check out more of my deep dive on this. I featured the tweets I'm talking about from Barnwell, from Olson, from J.J. Watt, etc. But I'm just sick of being gaslit by the data community trying to tell me that I don't know football because this is what the math says. Damn it, the math doesn't always have to rule. Life does. Humans do. Circumstance does. Situations do. And I know when the Eagles went for 2 and didn't get it, they were cooked. And everybody in that stadium knew it as well. And that sideline knew it also. All right, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click on this button below me. If you're on the YouTube live stream as we speak, click on this button below me. Also, if you're on X or you're on Instagram Live, get to the YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribed so you get this live stream, this live show every Sunday night. All right. Now, coming up on Tuesday, a very special episode of Watch DA Live. We don't usually go live on Tuesdays unless it's a special members only, but this is for everybody. Tuesday marks December 2nd, 5 years since they named Mo Gabba outside of the Ravens Stadium. And Mo Gabba was an incredible inspiration to me. He's up on my board up there. He's the young man with the Orioles jersey. He was cursed by cancer at 6 months old. He was in and out of hospitals and cancer treatment every day, every month, every year of his 13 years on this earth, but he stayed with joy and happiness and appreciation through it all. We lost him a couple of years ago, but they named a street outside M&T Bank Stadium after Mo. Mo called my radio show through the years. We became friends. I got to go down to Baltimore and meet him, and he is my hero. So on the 5th anniversary of them renaming the street Mo Gaba Way, I'm going to have a live viewing of the video special that I did when I went down there for the street dedication. And around the holidays, if you kind of need a jolt of goodwill, of good vibes, of what the season is about, perhaps your children do, perhaps your family does, perhaps somebody you know is going through a tough time, perhaps you or your family or friends have gone through cancer or going through treatments for a serious illness, I encourage you to join me on Tuesday night for this live viewing. The special is about, the video that I put together is about 20 minutes long. I'll do a live Q&A afterwards, and you probably won't have a dry eye in the house, but man, is it powerful to understand Mo's story, how it weaves through sports, how he became a hero for the Ravens, for the Orioles, and the city of Baltimore. And when you watch Ravens games in the end zone, where it says Baltimore, M-O is lit up in yellow in that end zone. That is for Mo. That is for Mo. That is the Ravens honoring Mo Gaba. So I get to see his mom, Sanzi, every year. I just think it's an important time of year to share his story. And I hope you're with me right here on this YouTube channel coming up on Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern time. That's for everybody. It's open to everybody. Come on and join me. And once again, if you're on X or you're on Instagram Live, get to the YouTube channel at Damon Amendo. Make sure you're subscribed. That way you'll get notified and have the automatic link so you won't have to find us when we do this on Tuesday. I'm sure it will affect you in a very deep and profound way. He did for me. I think about him every single day. His poster is behind me. His bobblehead is on my shelf watching over this show. We have a little Mo laugh of the day at the end of every episode. So I can't wait to share his story with many who might not know his story or reshare it with those that do coming up on Tuesday night. I also want to tell you that we are going to give away some memberships tonight, okay? And so before I get to Jason La Canfora, I want you to do a favor for me because I'm going to give away some memberships tonight, free memberships to the channel. We have a monthly subscription of $4 a month, and that's going to get you unique emojis that you see being used in the live chat. You'll see your loyalty badges, my logo, my face logo with different colors. That's based on how long you've been a member. You also get exclusive videos and membership into DA's Touchdown Club, where monthly I'm giving away old school vintage football swag. Last week, I gave away for the month of November an old school 80s San Diego Chargers pennant, which was absolutely amazing. Congratulations to Matt, who won it. I'm sending that out to him this week. Very fired up because Matt is a P1, a diehard D-alien, and he absolutely has been loyal to a great degree to get that win under his belt. I thought was really cool. Tonight, I'm going to give away some memberships, okay? And if you want to win one of these memberships, I can't decide who gets them. I just throw them out there. Then YouTube decides who gets them. You got to make sure you can accept, okay, the memberships. So go down to the bottom of the live chat on YouTube and see the $sign. Okay, click on the $sign. Then that'll bring up a couple of options. Click on memberships, not membership gifting, just memberships. And then there's 3 dots, right-hand corner. Click on that. When you see the 3 dots, you'll click on it, accept gifts, accept membership gifts. Slide that over to the right to accept it, and now you're good to go, and I give them away later on in the show, okay? So make sure you go down to the money sign, memberships, 3 dots. Money sign, memberships, 3 dots. You have some time here to do so because let's go to Jason La Canfora, NFL Insider. Hit it right now. Well, this is great. I get to reconnect with an old friend. He and I worked together at CBS Sports Radio and CBS Sports for a number of years, and now you read him as part of the Washington Post sports coverage and Wanna Bet, complete betting coverage around the NFL and other leagues as well. JLC, Jason La Canfora, NFL Insider. JLC, how we doing?
Doing all right. That window was pretty good to us. Premiership was iffy today. It was really good yesterday. So no, we're good. We're good.
You are one of those very bold, very confident bettors when it comes to the Premier League. I mean, not a lot of people lay a goal like you do, but you'll stick your nose right in there. I appreciate that.
Well, it's certain teams. It's not just the Premiership, really. Actually, it's a fair amount of Bundesliga, Champions League. Yeah, I mean, I grew up around the game, played it my whole life. It's my first love, covered a World Cup at the Washington Post. So, I mean, especially live betting opportunities. I don't know. I found that the markets in soccer don't, a lot of times aren't as indicative at the half as, say, maybe an NFL game or an NBA game. So, you know, we go where we see the value, DA. We follow the numbers.
What an impressive victory by the Carolina Panthers over the Rams. They were a 10-point underdog in this game, and they win outright. Describe the type of challenge, the mess that Dave Canales inherited 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a total disaster, and I didn't think he'd be the guy to dig him out of it. I didn't think that Tepper was capable of finding the guy to dig him out of it. But I started to buy in last year, and on a bet. On Wanna Bet, we talked about the Panthers quite a bit throughout the summer, and I love their alt total over 7.5. We played them plus 600. Tampa to finish first in the division, Carolina to finish second. We like Bryce Young over his touchdowns. We like Tet over 500 or over 5.5 touchdowns, and I think it was 750.5 receiving yards or 850.5 receiving yards. So they were a team we were kind of bullish on, and the evaluators I know and trust felt like Bryce Young showed enough last year that he could play in the league and that they had established at least a foundation that he's not going to be falling all over himself, costing you games left and right. Now, is the defense that much better? You'd think it has to be at least a little better. The offensive line has been a revelation. It's a lot of the same guys as last year, but they've gelled and they've coalesced. And since they made the move to Dowdle, it's been a pretty effective unit. But I didn't think they'd be able to move the ball at the line of scrimmage like they did today. Because people have kind of got on to Dowdle the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I think defenses have taken him away. But Bryce Young, the 2 huge fourth down shots for touchdowns, Stafford throwing a pick six, Stafford throwing an interception as they were going in to finish a drive with at least a field goal, if not a touchdown, and then the Stafford fumble at the end of the game. I mean, there's 5 plays that really swung the game that Carolina made happen. Look, I liked Carolina against San Francisco Monday night. I loved Bryce Young over 225 passing yards in that game. I thought Carolina, if they lost, would lose by 3 or less. I was off there. They're really good at home, and they've been really good at home from a covering standpoint since last year. And they've got some confidence, and the Bucs have a little bit of a fight on their hands now for that division. They really bounced back and showed some moxie today.
When it comes to new coaches taking over bad situations, we always preach patience. Hey, you can't just react. That's what the media or silly fans will do, except when you see Ben Johnson in Chicago and then Dave Canales in Carolina within a year or two really doing big things. Now, is it fair to quote-unquote overreact and say you get 2 years to figure it out?
Yes, the first time one of my dogs got in here, I'm in this room constantly. And first time one of them got in here, and Gigi felt like she needed to make her presence felt. So thank you, Gigi. Yeah, look, the right guy can change things in an instant. I give Ben Johnson a lot of credit. And in real time, I picked on him, and a lot of people did, because he looked like a guy who was maybe a little too cute by half and turning down these jobs and stringing some of these owners on and then saying no. But he had to take a job last year or he was going to start not being the hot guy anymore. And it turns out him staying in that division and him getting with Caleb Williams was a perfect coupling. And they're a dominant rushing team. You go back to, week 5, they're the number 1 rushing team in the NFL. They're running the ball better than the Eagles. We just saw that. Who can't run the ball this year. They're running the ball better than the Ravens. They're running the ball better than the 49ers, who can't really run the ball this year efficiently. So Ben Johnson came in and he established the run scheme. And, I don't know that DeAndre Swift's been particularly healthy for a while now, but the Monangai kid who they drafted at the end of the draft has been great. Caleb's legs are a real problem. The fourth quarter mojo, I don't think that happens without a coach who's cocky and can back it up. I have had trouble putting my wallet behind them. I haven't necessarily been fading them. I've just kind of been observing. And are all the takeaways on defense totally sustainable? I don't know. I think it's probably who they are this year. I don't know about next year. So they're tricky out now. I feel better about them than I do the Lions. I'll put it to you that way. It could be quite a year. Like, a world exists where the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Lions all missed the playoffs. Like, I wonder what that parlay would have been if you parlayed those four together before the season started. It'd have been a lot of money. It'd have been a semester of somebody's college tuition if you put a little bit of money behind that. But that could be the reality.
What is the biggest reason the Lions are not what they once were? Is it as simple as losing Ben Johnson and the entire Jenga tower falls?
No, well, I mean, I think they lost both coordinators and they lost their center. That's a lot. I think that center was a real calming presence for Jared Goff and had a whole lot to do with Jared Goff's metamorphosis. And clearly they did too, because they got him out of retirement and then found out, he still can't play. Like, he can't pass the physical. But they've made some panic moves now. Like, you switch up and take play calling away. I mean, this is a team that had been pretty steady Eddie. Like, we're going to play like Dan Campbell. We believe in what we believe in. We're going to go for every fourth down. We never lose twice in a row. We hang 35, 33, 32 on everybody who comes in our place. Like, this is what we are. None of that stuff is a truism right now. Goff does look off. He looks shaky. I think that Vikings game exposed some flaws in their scheme. And after that Vikings game, Dan Campbell took over play calling. And guess what? It's still not the same offense. It's not Ben Johnson's offense. The defense is not great. And all of a sudden, I don't know what's going on. Like, Hutchinson stopped dominating, taking games over. And now they're getting beat at the line of scrimmage. The injuries to the offensive line have certainly been significant. I just have a hard time buying them now. And I'm someone who blindly would bet Dan Campbell every week because he's going to win for you 2 out of 3. He's going to cover for you 3 times a month almost. That's not them right now.
You wrote a column for the Washington Post about this J.J. McCarthy Viking situation and said it's not too early to start planning for a plan B. What are your sources saying about concern or regret in Minnesota, and what is plan B for the Vikings if J.J. is not working out?
I don't think there's regret yet, but there's enough of a sample to show that this young man needs to make gains in so many different ways. Like, he needs to make gains in temperament. He needs to make gains in tempo. He needs to make gains in footwork and fundamentals. He needs to make gains in putting loft and air under a ball and learning some nuance with his delivery. He needs to make gains with his internal clock. Like, it's not like it's just, if he was a little bit more accurate on the deep ball, then he's a little too reliant on tight ends. Like, nobody looks good in their offense. Like, he clearly doesn't have anything going with the tight end. Jefferson is pretty much kind of like throwing his arms up in the air at this point. Like, it's a lot. It's enough that you can't ignore it and you can't just chalk it up to, we've got a QB guru and you don't, so we could polish up this diamond in one off season. Like, I'd be shocked if there's not a veteran quarterback of some caliber there. Like, maybe it's a Jameis Winston and we can argue about what caliber that is. But I don't think it's his job and we just bring in, somebody like what a Case Keenum was for years, not the 2017 version of Keenum that took them to the playoffs. Or, like, it's not like Josh McCown at the very end, or it's not like, I guess, whatever Garoppolo is now. Like, it's got to be somebody who you might need to start the first 6 to 8 games of the season. And if you think your defense is still pretty good, and they should, someone who's going to keep you in games, like someone who's going to push this young man. I can't fathom that they don't have someone in there of some caliber who's won games at the NFL level and has looked at least decent doing it. Like I would say Jacoby Brissett would be great, but he signed a 2-year deal with the Cardinals. And he's not, I don't think, going anywhere. But yeah, they're going to have to address that situation. I mean, maybe it's as simple as Cousins goes back there. Like if Cousins looks good these next few weeks, he looked a little better today, albeit against the Jets. But like maybe they get him on the cheap and he goes back there. But it has to be somebody who we can sell as at least someone to get us through the first half of the year, if not longer. And McCarthy's hurt all the time. So I think they are aware, and the locker room is definitely aware that this might not just be 12 OTA practices and here we go. He's our guy.
Right. That's the counterpoint, is that he didn't have a lot of attempts in college. He missed the entire rookie season due to injury. He's been injured this year as well. And people will say, look, you got to give him more starts. He deserves more starts. But you're saying that internally, there's at least some people in that locker room and some people in that organization go, it doesn't matter if he's only had a few starts. He's missing something.
Well, I mean, dude, he's completing 54% of his passes. Like his turnover-worthy throws are like you put a scatter chart together of McCarthy and anybody else who's played 3 games this year, and he's like, there's a couple guys here, and there's a cluster here and a cluster there, and he's off the map, like he's off the screen. It's bad, like, and he's hurt all the time, and he's not even really using his legs as much as a lot of people thought he would. So, yeah, I would again be shocked if there is not someone who's doing more than, he's not just there to coach him up and be a second coach and hold the clipboard and be his cheerleader and gas him up. No, like it's got to be somebody who by week 1 could give us a better chance of winning football games than him if he's not in a far different place than he is right now.
An organization that you know very intimately and have known for years, the Baltimore Ravens. Is there something going on with Lamar Jackson we don't know about? Because on Thanksgiving night, he didn't look anything like the Lamar Jackson that we know.
Well, he's not healthy. He hasn't been healthy. He doesn't trust his offensive line. I mean, there's a lot going on there. You can go back to week 7. The Baltimore Ravens averaged 3.9 per carry in the first half of games. Like, more Derrick Henry ain't really the answer, because Derrick Henry on early downs this year has sucked. Go look at any advanced metric. Look at success rate. Look at EPA. It's going nowhere. The guy who could bail him out a little bit more, and he also is their best pass protector, Justice Hill, just went on IR. The offensive line isn't good. I think no one trusts him, including the play caller, Todd Monken. So, like, there's no explosives in the run game or the pass game, and there's not even really intent in the downfield pass game unless it's a scramble drill and a broken play. Lamar outside the tackle box is not as magical as he's been before because he's clearly not healthy. Every week it's something else. He hasn't really had any practice time with the team since before the injury at Arrowhead, which we're going back, 7 weeks. So there's a lot. He 100% Lamar Jackson covers up a lot of woes, but they don't have starting caliber guards. The right tackle's regressed. Ronnie Stanley can never practice because he was on borrowed time 3 years ago with an ankle injury he thought was going to end his career then. Like, they redid his deal. They kept him around as a free agent, but, like, it's diminishing returns. The center's in a contract year. He's undersized. The guards next to him suck. So he's kind of in his own head. Like, it's just not a good situation. It's been a bad offense for a long time. They don't really have a discernible strength, which is crazy because this is a team a year ago that had a 4,000-yard passer or a 1,000-yard rusher. That's the same guy. A 2,000-yard running back, 2 1,000-yard receivers. Rashad Bateman's one of the best deep ball guys in the league. Zay Flowers is one of the best underneath intermediate guys in the league. Oh, yeah, and either move tight end could beat you in the red zone whenever they want it. They've got none of that. I don't think they're going to the playoffs. Like, the defense is good. It ain't great. When they play real quarterback, they get shredded. They have no discernible pass rusher on their roster. No one of any real caliber. I mean, Draymond Jones is a try-hard guy. Like, that's great. He's like, there's no coordinator in the league that's worried a damn about Draymond Jones, whether he's lined up on the rushing on the inside or the outside. It's not a great roster. People gas the roster up all offseason. The GM came out and told everybody, I don't have a whole lot to do this offseason. We're great. Like he said that. We play the clip on my radio show all the time. Next year, I might have some stuff to do, but I don't really have a big offseason. Like, we're in really good shape. Okay, well, you added nothing to it, and this is what you get. They have no money invested in their offensive line or their defensive line outside of Nnamdi Madubuike, who might never play football again with a neck injury. Like, I don't know. That strikes me as kind of problematic.
So there were some people that were kind of coming down hard on Harbaugh earlier in the season, at least when Lamar was healthy and the defense was a disaster. Is it really more on the roster build in the front office more than it is the coaching staff if this season ends up outside of the postseason?
I mean, I think it's on all of them. I don't think Steve Bisciotti's doing a damn thing. Like, they'll beat the teams they're supposed to beat mostly. They'll blame injuries. Like, Bisciotti's going to sell the team before he's going to blow the building up and start over with a new coach and a new GM. Like, I just don't think he's got any inclination to do that. So at the end of the day, it won't really matter. But, like, all they want to do is collect corners and safeties, and they don't want to invest in pass rush. And they believe they could just find mid-round picks, and they don't draft well in the mid-round since Ozzie left. I mean, the Ozzie's still there, but he's not making the call anymore. So, no, you can't just build an offensive line in the 3rd through 5th round every year. They don't want to pay anybody outside of their building at all. So I think it just continues to be the same thing. Like, with that quarterback, you're going to win 70 to 80% of your regular season games as long as he's remotely healthy. And then you're going to face real teams in the playoffs, and they're going to be able to get after your quarterback more than you can get after theirs. And, rinse, wash, repeat. But no, I don't think anything's going to change one way or the other. But I just find it hilarious that everything Eric DeCosta does gets rubber stamped by his buddies in the media. A, just go Google Ravens draft grades. It's never not an A. Like, a bad year is a B+. Like, Ravens off seasons, they're always amazing, except when they actually have to play football. Finally, are the Eagles' problems solvable before the playoffs? I'm worried now. I was abstaining, but I'm old enough to remember 2023, right? They lost 5 of their last 6. The whole thing fell apart. Then they got their ass kicked by Tampa in the playoffs. Like, just the way, it's not just that they're losing, it's the way they're losing, and just watching them in real time, like, sort of die this slow death, and nobody's changing their temperament, and nobody's expressing real urgency during games, on the sidelines, after games. Like, it's just not passing my eye test now. The offensive line, which was the strength of that offense, is really beat up. The quarterback is just in such a triage mode. He's just so scared to throw a pick that it is holding them back. And the defense is now, all of a sudden people are running on defense a little bit, which I didn't think was going to be possible. I mean, the defense has been on the field for like 158 snaps in a 5-day span. They've given up 6 offensive touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, 3 in each game. I think they had given up 3 offensive touchdowns once in a game all season prior. So I guess what I'm saying is I think the woes of the offense now are bleeding over into their collective psyche. And I think a lot of people are kind of feeling sorry for themselves. And then you've got the Super Bowl sort of hangover and how hard it is to repeat. I'm concerned that they might not be able to shake off this malaise. I don't believe in the offensive coordinator at all. I don't think they do either. The running back had 2,000 yards last year. Just Google what historically happens to them the year after that. And you put it behind an offensive line that's regressed majorly with all the injuries. I don't fancy their chances in the postseason right now.
For joining us here on Watch DA Live, my friend Jason La Canfora is going to get himself a bottle of Santo Tequila. This is a tequila collaboration between Guy Fieri and Sammy Hagar, rock legend.
Wow.
It's the smoothest, cleanest tequila on the market. They are our title sponsor here on the show, and it's coming to you, my friend, for the holidays. Thank you.
It must taste like a bad motor scooter. We don't get the
No,
reference. You should. And I thank you very much.
Use it in good health. Drink it in good health. Man, it's always good to catch up with you. Thanks so much for dropping on by, and I hope that you have an awesome holiday season.
You do the same, brother. Thank you.
Jason La Canfora joining us here on the show. Thanks very much.
Oh, yeah.
The guest house is full, and add Jason La Canfora to the mix. Very cool to have him here on the show. All right, let me give away some memberships here, okay? I want to give away some memberships. This is called the DA Touchdown Club, okay? You guys know the touchdown clubs are all across the country. They're like booster clubs. They get together and have a good time. And that's what we do on Sunday night. Get together, have a few cocktails, share a few jokes, chat up football, chop it up about sports, etc. Well, this is what DA's Touchdown Club can bring you. It can bring you incredible vintage sports gear, okay? Ben, let's cue up how we gave away the San Diego Superchargers pennant last week on the November edition of the Ask DA Anything members only exclusive live stream, which we've now named the Touchdown Club. Let's run the video. So why don't we give away this pennant right now? I know that you guys have been waiting for this. And so this is interesting. What I'm going to do here, I put everybody's name, all members' names in a big wheel. And this is just a randomizer. I have to get it on my phone and then share that phone screen to you. There we go. There's going to be an echo here, but that's okay. Spin this wheel.
A few moments later.
Big winner. Let me go get your prize. Hang on, Matt. Love it. Matthew Graves. Congratulations, buddy. This is very cool. Matt is a hardcore listener. He's a big-time DA alien. So he is a very worthy winner here of this amazing pennant. So that's just going to make an incredible addition to Matt's Man Cave. We're going to do this every month, and it gives me a cool opportunity. If you can recruit more people to be members, then that kitty goes up. And I will spend more on next month's prize. So Matt, hit me up, and the prize is yours. So we're making football fun around here. And if you remember, that means you sign up, and it's only $4 a month, $3.99 in fact. And you get use of all these custom emojis and all the loyalty badges that you see in the live chat. And you are in the running every month for a cool vintage sports prize. Okay. So tonight I'm giving away a few memberships to our channel, and I appreciate you guys. I can't choose where they go. I can just send them out. And so we're giving away 5 memberships tonight. We'll give away 5 on Tuesday night as well for the Little Mo night as well, to celebrate 5 years of Mo having the street named after him. So let's send them out right now in the live chat. Congratulations to the memberships going out there. Very nice as we get all the members now. Looks like we've got Some Guy 7222. Smiley Dan is getting a gift membership. Ozzy's Game Room, Styles Clash, and Nichols 01 all getting the memberships. Congratulations, boys. Congratulations, girls. Congratulations, whoever qualified for that. And you guys can give away memberships as well. You can go down to that money sign down there, and you can give away memberships, gift them around the holidays. You could also gift supers for special attention on the comments and so much more. So awesome stuff. Congratulations to everybody. And we'll keep doing this throughout the holiday season. 5 more going to be going out on Tuesday, and we'll do this every Sunday night, give away some memberships that we bring more new faces into the action. What you also missed if you weren't a member on last Tuesday, was me and Maggie Gray now have a bet, and I'm feeling better about this bet than I did last week. Here is what the bet was. Let's roll tape. My word is my bond here. So I want to bet that we're going to see the Bills in the AFC Championship game. I believe they're going to win 2 playoff games. We got to put something on this. If they are eliminated before the AFC Championship game, I'm a loser. If they make it to the AFC title game, you're the loser. We got to make this a Buffalo bet, okay? I suggested a dozen wings and 2 Labatt Blue Lights as soon as our shows are done.
Well, I mean, DA, if you're going to come to me with, like, Bills positivity after they just lost and Josh Allen got sacked 8 times, then I'm gonna make you pay. But in this case, like, it's not Maggie, your friend, you're talking to right now. It's Maggie. I have an alter ego, and her name is Townie Maggie.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Roll the pack of Marlboros up in my sleeve, you know. Townie Maggie's here. I'm ready for all bets.
So we were texting the other day, and you're like, all right, I'm only in if it's atomic wings. I'm like, I've never even really heard of atomic wings. I've heard of really hot wings. Where are you getting atomic wings in New York City?
Kind of was using atomic wings, was actually a place in the East Village near where I used to live, but I'll use it as like shorthand for the spiciest wings on the menu.
Okay, so are you also going to drink 2 beers at 10 o'clock in the morning?
If the Bills are in the AFC championship game, I'm drinking way more than 2.
Okay. All right. The bet is on. Me and Maggie at 10 a.m. Eastern time somewhere in New York City, and we will eat, drink, and somebody will be in flames internally at that point in time.
You triggered something in me, and I was like, if we're going to do this, let's do it.
It's on. And after the Bills win today over the Steelers, I feel a little bit better than had they lost. And after they got their tail kicked last week. But I'm still on that bandwagon. Fear not. That was part of the members-only live stream. We'll do that again coming up in December. So become a member. Hit that join button above me or help gift somebody else a membership this year as well so that everybody can join the TD Touchdown Club around these parts. Speaking of, let's hear from some of the members here tonight here on the show. Ben, why don't we queue up 2 members that hung out this Thanksgiving weekend? How about this? We have Backwards Brian and Moist Pork hanging out together on Thanksgiving weekend. Brian had to head up to Maryland. He lives in North Carolina. That's where Moist is. They got together. Not sure what they drank. I know that Moist Pork isn't going to let Backwards Brian leave his state without getting some cocktails in him, some type of scotch or bourbon or high-end alcohol. I love that. So that was very cool seeing 2 members come together on Thanksgiving weekend. Backwards Brian and Moist Pork connecting. That is a powerful mothership connection right there. Very, very powerful. Also, Kristen in Buffalo this weekend was making some delicious Thanksgiving food. Gal Fieri gives us Tank's Govern Weekend Special. Very nice, Kristen. Week 13 football food of the week. Sugar cream pie with graham cracker crust and a s'mores whiskey frosting. S'mores whiskey frosting. That sounds impeccable. That looks delicious. And Kristen, not a member yet. So if you wanted a nice gift for Kristen, I think this holiday season, send her a membership. Okay, I don't know how you do that specifically. Maybe you got to Venmo her the cost of it. But however that works, she's a new mom. She's cooking. She's giving us recipes. She's an amazing member and a Hall of Famer here on for the D-Alien Watch side. So obviously, we had to make sure we got her recipe up there. And finally, our newest addition to the membership, Chef Abs. How about this week? We find out that Chef Abs, is in the chat. He has entered the chat. He's got that green logo. That means you just started, okay? Green, right? Kind of like a young vegetable. Next time, maybe I'll get picked. You're in the rotation, my man. In the rotation. Chef Abs, add him as a new member. Well done to the Touchdown Club. Love seeing it. Great job joining and now being part of the Touchdown Club membership. Love to see it. Very cool. Okay, well, we got more to do here because we've got a brand new executive producer here with us named Ben Spector. Ben has taken over the reins from Aiden Hatton, who departed for a more expansive full-time job with NBC Sports Boston, and we love the Marquette Marvel very much, but Ben's been doing a great job the last 2 weeks. And so Ben is now going to join me on camera and give me his 3 favorite comments and something that he learned the more you know from tonight's show. Ben, come aboard. Want to see you there. How's it going, buddy?
Hello. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. I'm good, man. I'm good. We've had a great show so far, a lot of energy, and I want to know what's happening in the comments section. So give me your 3 favorite comments so far tonight.
All right, here's what I got. Moist asked a great question, so I'm just going to rip it right here. I think as a fan, we have to appreciate when we win championships or when our teams don't win championships. And then the year after, how do you handle yourself? Is it a complete dud? Are you still celebrating the entire time? How do you treat your team the next season? I understand there's passion, but I don't know. I'm kind of curious about this too.
I don't think you should check out. I don't think that once you win a title that the next season doesn't matter, because apathy is never a good thing either. But I don't think you're allowed to get really upset or angry. I think it's only glass half full type stuff. Like, let's take the Red Sox in 2004. After they break through 86 years of a drought, in 2005, they missed the playoffs, I think, and it's like, all right. But you can't be angry. Had they repeated, you're all in. This is awesome, right? You're certainly not like it doesn't matter what happens. But I think you have to shift kind of completely to like, it's either good or I abstain. I don't think anger is the right thing. So when it comes to the Eagles and Eagles fans booing, didn't love to see it. But I will say this. I think they are a bit of an anomaly because they win a Super Bowl with a head coach that's a dummy. And so they're still anchored to a dummy, and that cannot be easy. I talk about the Red Sox. You had Terry Francona. You're like, we're still in good hands no matter what. I feel like he's going to get the most out of the roster. When it comes to Sirianni, I mean, he's a complete imbecile. So that's got to be frustrating. But ultimately, I think you have to check out of when it gets you too angry if you're less than a year removed from a championship.
I don't know if you can call it a failure. I think if you call a season a failure the year after you won a championship, I just think you got to take that word out of the vocabulary. I just don't think that applies.
Yeah,
you can be upset,
right.
but to call it a failure is a little strong.
True.
All right, I want to go to college here. You had a Lane Kiffin conversation. Can they just have a rule that says national championship? Once that's done, then you could talk to coaches. If they want to treat it like professional sports, can they treat it like professional sports?
Absolutely right. It should just be after the national championship game. That's when the transfer portal starts. That's when you can move programs. That's when the coaching cycle begins. That's when the recruiting cycle begins. The problem is that you are kind of bound to all these other schedules. So the transfer portal is its own schedule, recruiting schedule is its own schedule, other conferences wrapping up, other playoffs wrapping up, and not on the same timeline. It's ridiculous. So absolutely right, Moist. Wallace. That's the easiest way to make this thing happen.
I agree. I think that the schedule is crazy, and that's why Lane Kiffin's in this situation that he didn't put himself in. I thought you said a lot of great things about that. I agree. Last one here. You went on a big rant about analytics. You alluded to it about 30 seconds ago with Nick Sirianni being an imbecile. It's just as simple as what Matthew said here. The nerds are running our sports. It's a problem. It's a problem. The reason why we like sports is because we don't like math.
That's exactly right. And it's really bad when the math dorks or the nerds or the data people convince the football people or the sports people they don't know what they're talking about. And I think the problem here is that, let's just say in football, probably not the sharpest bunch. So we're talking about people, we're talking about an employment that is really not for like SAT majors. It's really not majors. It's not for like huge intellects. So they can easily be intimidated by intelligence or data. And so it's like, somebody told Nick Sirianni, who's clearly not the brightest bulb, like, this is what you have to do because the math just says it. And he has to just go like, yeah, I can't challenge that because I'm not naturally that bright anyway. And so it just gets shoved down your throat. Like, Greg Olson's smart for a football player, but is he really smart? And so, dopey people, football players, hear data and they're like, well, I guess that must be what the smart people think. So I must be dumb and that's got to be the right thing. And it's like, wait a second. No, don't take the football out of this. Use it. But I just think these dopes get intimidated by this stuff.
Maybe it's because they just love the movie Moneyball so much and they just got affected by watching Moneyball. And then they saw that they went on that team didn't win the championship, A, and B, that movie left out so many key details about how good that team was.
Everybody just wants to be the smartest guy in the room. Yeah, everybody. Nick Sirianni just dreams about being Brad Pitt in Moneyball.
That's true. Maybe he does.
So,
all right,
I want to know. Yeah, the more that you know. You guys all remember this. This is what happened at the end of sitcoms in the 80s or the end of cartoons in the 80s. Celebrities would tell you the more you know. What did we learn on this very special episode? And so, what did we learn on this very special episode, the more that you know?
Well, the conversation about the nerds and that whole numbers conversation, it's interesting. It took me back to Big Ten Media Day this past summer, where there's a video out there. I was trying to find it during the show and I couldn't, but I remember this video where Matt Rule and Dylan Raiola were asked separately, down 15, 4 minutes to go, you score a touchdown, what do you do? And Raiola answered with, oh, you take the extra point and you figure out the 2-point conversion later. And Rule answered with, you do the 2-point conversion first so you could see how many possessions you have. I learned that really it's just coaches go for 2 first and everybody else thinks differently and coaches think they're the smartest in the room. That's what I learned.
Yeah, that's probably right. Especially after they talk to the data department, then they're empowered with all this information. They really think they're the smartest guy in the room. That's right.
Exactly.
If you want a good laugh, watch Nick Sirianni's post-game answer to why he went for 2 on social media, and you just be like, wow, that's the dumbest explanation I've ever heard. There's reasoning behind it, but he just can't get to the reasoning because he's just not that bright, and that's the fact.
Right.
So very good. Ben Spector, our new executive producer of Watch DA Live, is doing an amazing job tonight. Let me go through a few of the comments as well that I see over here. We have Matt that said Aaron Rodgers will need a darkness retreat after today. He got his head pounded a couple of times, including right into his face into the turf, and that bloodied him up pretty good. He had Two-Ton Tony saying Pittsburgh is mid. The Steelers certainly feel that way. Matt's the one who won the pennant last week. They took him behind the woodshed. Good bounce back game for the Bills. No question about it. I think the Bills come out of that feeling like they were the bullies, and they kind of needed that vibe after they were bullied in Houston. Wallace says, not so jolly Rodgers today. Ouch. He got bothered out there. That's good wordplay, and we're always up for puns around here. Ben did all of the puns today on the headlines, and I got to say, some very, very solid work. Very solid work. I liked a lot of what I saw from a young Ben Spector. Moist says, I think the Browns are officially eliminated. Oh, well, there's always next year. Yeah, well, you got the Shedeur Sanders show, and that's never boring. The offense was very boring today, but that sideline exchange between Jerry Jeudy and Shedeur, that makes for interesting copy. I think this may be Tomlin's first losing season. Yeah, they smell like an 8-9 coming up here. Let's see. Matt says Lane Kiffin might be the most interesting man in sports. He certainly occupies a spot in college football where he is the most interesting guy left. A couple of these guys are good quotes, like a Kenny Dillingham is a good quote. James Franklin's a good quote. But I don't know how interesting they are. Lane Kiffin's interesting, and that's much different than the way that he used to be. Guys used to be really interesting, but college football coaches just really aren't anymore. And, Ryan Day's not interesting. Dan Lanning's not interesting. PJ Fleck's a little interesting. But who are the characters? I mean, Kalen DeBoer is such a bore. Go down the list. You just don't have the renegades, the rogues, the crazy guys anymore. So like Lane Kiffin, we kind of need Lane Kiffin around. Brian Kelly's obnoxious, but I don't know if he's interesting. So yeah, he becomes the most interesting guy in college football. However, Andy's Darkroom says Lane is so boring, so get out. So that's the opposite. A Two-Ton Tony says Ole Miss versus LSU next year. Yes, I believe they play late in the season and at Ole Miss. Half of Ole Miss's team going to hit the portal for Baton Rouge, says Ralph. Yeah, let's see how many guys leave. That'll be interesting to see. Oxford, Mississippi is a great experience. I've been there to the Grove, and they party. So life as a college football player there is pretty good, but they're going to lose somebody. UD fan says the thing is most Steelers fans want Tomlin fired. They're tired of whatever he is doing right now. I agree with that. I think what we've seen is that there's a lot of fatigue for Mike Tomlin. Lane Kiffin always has to make it about himself. No NE school would allow a coach to be there while also actively recruiting against it. That's probably true. Michelle says it's wild that he coaches them to 11-1, best record of their history, and leaves for LSU ahead of the playoffs. The writing was all over the wall, but sheesh. And good to see Michelle in the comment section. I see that she left a lot of comments. Love to see it. Very nice. We already went over that comment. Matt says the Texans defense is monstrous. It really is going to give everybody a problem, whoever they play. Matt says Ben Spector gadget flexing his wordplay muscles. I would absolutely agree. Babs never had faith in the Colts. That was from Ruben. That is true as well. We both have the Colts as fakes in the first place in the standings. Someone tell Belichick there's a better football coach than him in the state of North Carolina. Yep, Dave Canales. Backwards Brian, I listened to the whole game on Sirius XM. The Panthers radio team was going nuts. There you go. Nice shout out for Sirius XM. The nerds are ruining our sports, as we mentioned before. I missed the whole Eagles and Bears game because my aunt forced me to watch It's a Wonderful Life, so I have no thoughts. That's a tough break right there. It was actually a pretty interesting game. And It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, you have another month to really watch that. Super Bowl hangover. Yeah. 60% of the time, the math works every time, so space available. Good Anchorman reference. The season isn't over yet, but I am already feeling overjoyed and shocked about the Panthers, understandably so. The playoffs this year are going to be crazy. It is anybody's tournament, no doubt about it. I kind of felt like in the NFC it was going to be the Rams and then everybody else, or the Rams or the Eagles than everybody else. Certainly the last couple of days have changed my vibes on that. Excalibur says he's young and shouldn't have been in pro games until next year, the earliest, talking about J.J. McCarthy. Daniel Jones would have stayed for a one-year deal, plus given the job, J.J. should have never been the active roster this season. That probably really is what they should have done. The Vikings should have given Daniel Jones a short-term contract and just said J.J. is going to redshirt another full season. Matt says the 12 DAs of Christmas is going to be fun. No doubt about it. We start the 12 DAs a week from tomorrow on the Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio side. Can't wait for that. Loved Bosa's hit on Rodgers. There was a lot of Rodgers haters that were loving that. Michelle comes in. Hiya, DA. Hello, chat. Hello to you, too. The sad thing is, if they had a remotely decent offense, they could be right in the mix of the AFC North. The Steelers and Ravens don't want it. Talking about the Browns, that's for sure. And Nick says, man, it's been a while since I've checked in, but this has been a great show tonight. It really has been a great show. There's been so much fun. We had a lot of action, a lot of good comments. We had a great guest in Jason La Canfora. And Brilliant Hoop says, Kiffin does what any other coach would do for the most part. Not all, but most. Schools also fire coaches under contract all the time. They've got to pay them their buyout. That is true. And as we mentioned before, it's been 5 years for Mo. It has been 5 years. Yep, since he passed away, and they named the show, they named the street after him. That was 2020. And so he passed away in the summer. They announced the street name change in the late fall and early winter. And then they finally did it on December the 5th. And December the 2nd, rather. And that's why we are celebrating on Tuesday. And that's how we always end off the show. Great comments tonight, everybody. Great job, guys. We had a really good number of watchers tonight, viewers. We had good numbers, one of our highest watched episodes of the year. So appreciate that very much. Everybody coming in from other portals like X, like Instagram Live. Make sure you get over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. That way on Tuesday for the Little Mo Show, you get the link for the live show, or when we go live on Sunday nights, you get the link as well, directly delivered to you. You don't have to look for it. You get the alert, boom, click on it, and you're there in the live chat and watching the live show, which is awesome. So let's get to your Little Mo laugh of the day, and this comes to us from the Indianapolis Colts. It was not a great day for the Colts, but they had a great celebration. Check this out. We have a big man touchdown celebration, or a big man celebration in the end zone, and it ends up being the Urkel dance.
Urkel dance? All you have to do is hitch up your pants.
I mean, how incredible is that? Cam Bynum goes into the end zone with his teammates behind him and does the Urkel dance. And really does the Urkel dance. Like, hitch up your pants, side to side, then getting down with it, and then spinning around and getting down on your back with the one arm. That's full Urkel. That's like Stefan Urkel type stuff there. Amazing by Cam Bynum. Simply put, becomes one of my favorite players in the league because he just rocked the Urkel dance. What an absolutely amazing addition to an amazing day around the NFL. Yes, it happened. He did the dance. He does the dance. He was the dance. Wallace says, besides the show where DA didn't know there was no audio, every show has been a nice highlight to my Sunday. It's nice of you to say. Yes, that was a classic. For a half hour, I spoke into a microphone and there was no audio. I never looked at the comments. We didn't have a producer that night. I'm an idiot. All lessons that we learned. All right, on the way out, do your own Urkel dance, everybody. Thanks so much to Jason La Canfora, NFL Insider, for joining us this morning or this evening on the show. And thanks to Ben Spector, executive producer of Watch DA Live. And thanks to you guys, the members of this channel of the DA Touchdown Club, as well as all the subscribers and viewers of Watch DA Live every Sunday night. I love seeing you guys in the comments. I love seeing the viewership numbers go up throughout the show. And I love the fact that we have such a great community and family here that assemble on Sunday nights and make this thing awesome. So thank you all. Love you very much. Be good. Be good to one another. I'll see you tomorrow morning on Sirius XM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio, bright and early at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm DA, and we are signing off.